Not on the field, court, or ice. You're on the couch. From PG to DC, this is Coaching from the Couch with your host, CWall, delivering coverage for all DC sports teams from a hometown perspective. Nats, Skins, Mystics, DC United, Washington Wizards, Caps, Bowie State.
My name's CWall, I'm a PG girl. Down for my skins, I don't know if you heard. If you like watching sports, then I am your girl. Sit down on the couch if you're not on the field. Cold on the ice, pick any sport that you want. Know that I cover it tight. What would you like? From baseball to football and more. The list can go on the whole night. Big shouts out to my HBCU fam. Never forget who I am through the wins and the losses, the highs and the lows. We gotta stay strong, so I stay 10 toes. Make the competition back. The way I kick it, make them mad, man. CWall and we live and direct. Sit back on the couch and relax. Come on.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Coaching from the Couch. This is your Washington Commanders update, and I am your host, CWall. It feels like it's been a very long time since I talked to you all. Has it been that long? Maybe not. Maybe it hasn't been that long, but it feels like it's been some time. I mean, at least a couple of weeks. Hasn't it been that long, Lash? I see Lash is checked in. Listen, you all, as usual, there's a lot to discuss. So make sure if you all have checked in, you're hitting the love button or the like button so that I know you are in the building. And make sure you all are saying hello. I see my mom has checked in. So make sure you all say hello to Mama Waller. I see, not only do I see Lash, I see Demond as well. Make sure everybody is checked in because listen, there's a couple of things that can be done on this day, talking solely about the Commanders. So I want to make sure you all are locked in, checked in, because it could be a number of things and conversations we could get into. Okay, and I'm going to give you all the list of the conversations in just a moment. But is everybody checked in? Hit the love button. Are you sharing the show with your fellow Commanders fans? Because there's a lot that we can do. And whenever there's a lot that can be discussed, we always start with this. I do this one when there's a lot to be discussed because you never really know where to start, truly. And this is one of those weeks where it's just so much going on. It's like, hey, listen, maybe we can do another choose your own adventure. And what do we mean by choose your own adventure? It could be that we get into everything with the stadium, can talk a bit about the allegations. We can also talk a bit about, what else? Other things that have come out from the owners' meetings, off-season program schedule. I don't know. I'm not real sure where to start because it's just that much that can be discussed. But you know what? Let's start on, how about we start on a lighter note? Let's start on a lighter note because we can close out with a bang for certain. But let's start out on a lighter note. And have you all shared this show with your Commanders, family, and friends? Because you definitely want them to be a part of this live discussion. And we're going to start on a lighter note. Let's start here. This is the off-season program dates right here. Starts April 18th. Let's just go ahead and do this so that everybody has the off-season program dates. Everybody check in and say, got it, good, got the dates, write them down, when off-season program starts, winter OTAs, and then mandatory minicamp. So already we're right back around that OTA cycle. So check in, say, got it. I got it, CWall. Before we get all deep and serious, let's start here. Okay? Cool. Everybody has the dates. I'm glad that you have the dates. Now, I have to start here. Now that we've gotten that was probably about the only positive thing that I had to say on this show tonight. So what we'll do is I want to start off, and I see the comment here from Damon that says allegations. Okay, you want to start with allegations. All right, let's do that. But before we get into the allegations, I want to share, you all may have already seen this. Check in below in the chat if you saw and heard about former NFL quarterback, former Commanders quarterback Alex Smith's comments on the Rich Eisen show. Check in. I want to know if you heard about those comments, if you had already heard about them, if you saw them. Check in, because if you haven't, I want to share it with you. And if you have, I absolutely want your thoughts on Alex Smith's comments, because this is how long it's been since we all talked. This was last week, so we didn't do a Commander show last week. I was off last week. So let's take a listen to this. I think it's something I see a comment here that says, do tell. Don't mind if I do. So, are you all ready? Let's check in. Check out this clip. Rich Eisen, he asked some really good questions. I was like, ooh. And I see Mazdak's comment, and that Alex answered truthfully. So check this out.
Advice, Alex Smith, would you have for Carson Wentz going to Washington now?
Oh man, that's tough. You know, I mean, I think you got to try to eliminate the noise there. You know, there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of distractions. That entire organization, everything surrounding it, and obviously deservedly. It's been flawed the last 20 years. There's a lot of stuff going on there. A lot of distractions. And it makes it difficult to kind of focus in on the football. But I think Carson's kind of that's where he's at this point in his career. This is really kind of make or break. He's getting one more chance to kind of be the guy. This is a team that, you know, has been, you know, almost desperate to try and get a franchise quarterback these last few years. And can he be that? And so I think he's got to kind of go, he's got to lock in. He cannot, like I said, can't get distracted. I mean, this is an opportunity. He's got to go make the most of it. And I think it's going to be telling. Can he do that, right? I mean, the Cowboys kind of ran away with that division. I think the Eagles are going to continue to be better. We'll see what happens up in New York. But, yeah, I mean, can he go make the most of this kind of last opportunity to be the guy here with all that going on? And I think that kind of pressure and situation usually does one of two things, right? It really does usually kind of make these guys toe the line and nail it down, or it's too much and they can't handle it. So we'll see. Again, they've had a ton of turmoil there. I know they're trying to settle it down. It still, I think, kind of remains to be seen if it's going to happen.
So I'm mandated to follow up on this, Alex. I mean, so you're saying whatever was going on in the front office was affecting your ability to play football and focus on?
Yeah, I mean, how could it not? How could it not? I mean, for me, like, yeah, I mean, all the stuff there with you know, just the entire organization from ownership down, head coaching and GM. It's a lot of, you know, there's been historically a lot of drama there, and you know, it's a big market. You know, obviously the capital and a lot going on, and that organization is a really storied franchise, and there's a lot of turmoil and a lot of distractions. So to say that the stuff going on in the building doesn't infiltrate the locker room or out on the field would be crazy. That happens everywhere. I think that's what great organizations eliminate, and the bad ones have a hard time with. All that noise creeps into the building, and it does. It does affect the product on the field. So I think the great organizations and coaches have a knack to keep that out of the building, to quiet the noise, to decrease distractions and focus on football. But that's easier said than done.
Wow. Okay, Alex, tell us how you really feel. Now, hold that thought, everybody. Hold that thought, because as you're holding that thought, I want you to start to comment in the chat. What are your initial reactions to what Alex Smith shared? Okay, initial reactions to Alex Smith, what he shared. And then here's this. So this has just been within the last week. Media colleague, Washington Post, from the Washington Post, Nikki Jabala, shared this. And I saw it. I had been so busy. I said, wait. Even I had to say, wait a second. Hold on. So this thing about turnover, especially at the executive level, this is one of those, you all have heard me use this terminology before, which is, this is one of the big stories that's not being told and that's not being talked about and discussed. Now, is it possible that turnover is happening at other organizations? Of course it's possible. Of course it's absolutely possible. But is that what is happening in real life? Not certain. But one of 8 VPs or high-level execs to leave the organization for various reasons since the start of 2022, that's a big deal. That is absolutely a big deal. Couple that with, because we haven't gotten into the allegations yet. It's a couple things we haven't gotten into yet. But couple that with what Alex is sharing, and it's like, well, how can the organization be successful? How? How is it possible to be successful with the distractions, with all the noise, with executives leaving and such a turnover, even though that's part of the business aspect of it? Still, with folks coming trickling in and out, how can one expect there to be long-term or even short-term success when there's so much going on? How can anybody expect that? And I'm like, wow. Tie it all together. So you tie in what Alex shared. You tie in the turnover at the executive leadership level. Tie in the turnover from long-term sponsors. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light. What's going on here? What is going on? Because here's the thing. In the owners' meetings, we saw that Roger Goodell said that Dan Snyder had not been involved with the day-to-day. Okay. Now, the first thing I said when I heard this statement was, okay, well, Dan isn't involved in the day-to-day, but he sure enough was the person that was there when the new name was announced, and he was the first person to speak. Now, the argument can be made for, well, that's not day-to-day. That's a special occasion. Nonetheless, he was absolutely there. And he was absolutely there to greet for the name unveiling, all of that. So which one is it? What is it? Is that considered day-to-day? I mean, he was obviously involved with the name choice because he spoke and had talking points about the name choice. Wouldn't that have been part of day-to-day operations? I'm being like, seriously. And I'm like, look, at this point, what you got to do is like, watch what they do, not listen to what they say. Because at this point, I'm like, well, if he wasn't involved in all of this is an issue. This is an issue. And right now, if you tie all of it together, let's also, I'm going to throw this in here because this was absolutely discussed on a previous Culture from the Couch Washington Commanders update show, was the notions around how business was being handled, right? Got some players saying, hey, you're a lock. Next thing you know, they're released. You got some players saying you're in, and then they don't hear anything back until they go sign with another team, and then you come back. That's chaotic, and it's all tying in together. Listen, objectively, it's hard to be successful in an environment like that. It just is, because that turnover, that chaotic nature, that seeps in. Now, here's what I will say. From a player perspective, when you hear JD McKissick talking about wanting to be with the Commanders and wanting to be with the team, I have to say there is something to be said for what Ron Rivera and staff is trying to do to shield the team from the chaos. I want to acknowledge that. I want to say something about that, because all too often, while we definitely heard the drama stories from players, they said they were going to sign me, they released me, they asked me to take a pay cut, then they asked me to take another pay cut. I didn't want to do that. And then you hear players say, I want to be in Washington. I want to stay in Washington. I believe in what we're doing in Washington. So I think that is, in fact, a credit to Ron Rivera and staff in trying to shield his players from all of the noise that Alex Smith is talking about and the distractions, because this is a lot. Now, if we move to the conversation about the allegations, I mean, good grief. They were already investigating the sexual misconduct allegations. They're talking about, I mean, now they're getting into the finances of it all. And here's what I said. I said, okay, we're getting into the finances of it all, and there's a possibility that this team has been shortchanging the other teams. Now, see that anybody that was like, hey, Dan's got to go, that might do it. That might do it. Right? Because while other things should have been able to do it and should absolutely no brainer be able to do it, sometimes it depends on who it impacts. Hard truth on whether or not something is going to happen and something is going to be done. Now, if it is found to be a fact that the team was actually in real life undercutting their opponents, their visiting teams, I mean, you all know how I feel about everything else. So that is what that is. But all of those things and what I feel about all of those things has not garnered the outcome that I would have anticipated. So now it becomes maybe not giving people their money and not paying up. Maybe that'll do it. Maybe, just maybe, that will do it. Now, of course, a spokesperson from the Washington Commanders has absolutely denied all claims that any of that has gone on. They've said it's absolutely not true. And I mean, hey, here's the reality. No one in their right mind would come out and say that it was true. So there's that. But at the same token, nobody's going to say, oh, yep, you're right. You got us. Sorry, our bad. We'll cash app it to you. Nobody's going to do that. So I think the sexual misconduct allegations are still being investigated. That process is still going forward. Now you couple this with financial misappropriations. I don't know. That's a lot. And I'm saying this to say just how much will Ron Rivera and his staff be able to shield the team from this? Right? Like, the other flip side of this coin is this team still needs to prepare. You know, they need to be ready, right, to battle every week. They need to be prepared and going for something much larger than themselves individually. So they need to be on point as a collective. So I want to encourage everyone, listen to what Alex is saying. How can you be successful and competitive with all of the noise, all of the distractions? Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying, you out there fumbling the football and all of that every week, then that's an issue. But what I am saying is that's it plays on the psyche. It plays on the psyche. It's not a healthy organization. Okay? It's not healthy. How can you thrive and succeed in that? So as always, there's more to come, and it's more to watch and more to come out. But it's like, even with the off season, now the off season from a player perspective was already lackluster. Okay, can we all agree there? It was already lackluster in terms of trying, making splashes in free agency, getting who was needed and necessary and all of that. It wasn't like it was real, wasn't a whole lot of hoopla around Commanders off-season moves. But what has been a lot of hoopla is that these investigations have absolutely been heating up. Very much so. Remains to be seen what happens, for sure. I want to address this comment here by DJ. This is a lot to try and overcome. Once again, off the field distraction and loud talk every time they go into a press conference. There's no football stuff being addressed, and that weighs on your coach. It's a lot. It's a lot. And hearing it come from a former player that isn't like buying into the whole, it was great, it was fun, we had a blast. I mean, Rich Eisen asked straight up, and Alex Smith answered, and it was in regard to, it's crazy because it was in regard to his opinion on Carson Wentz and what he needed to focus on and how he was going to do. Now, let's go to that, because I'm like, if Carson already has leadership challenges, and I really would like to get into the specifics of what exactly are the leadership concerns with Carson. One question, what are the concerns with Carson from a leadership perspective? And two, what has he done? And what is being, not just what has he done, what is he doing to mitigate those challenges? Everybody needs leadership development. Everybody needs some help and support. So in terms of feedback, what has that feedback been, and what is he doing to work through that? Because let me tell you something. If Carson has had issues, true issues with locker room and leadership, with all the distractions here, that's gonna be tough. That's gonna be hard. I mean, because it's hard and difficult. I know y'all tired of me talking about Alex, but let me tell you something. What has been a recurring theme about Alex Smith throughout the league, though? The recurring theme about Alex Smith and his leadership skills and abilities is the exact opposite of what has been said and shared about Carson Wentz. That's the thing, right? So if Alex, who has been praised for his leadership skills and abilities, he's been praised for it. Said, hey, look, man, it's hard. It's hard over there. over there at Ashburn, that thing ain't no joke over there. If he said it's difficult, what is going to happen with somebody who is coming in the door with a reputation of leadership concerns? Leadership concerns, and oh, by the way, he get hurt almost every season too. So that is a challenge within itself. To the point here by Calvin Sutton, yes, Alex Smith is well respected, not a negative word about him. So if he says it's difficult in Washington, it's difficult in Washington. It's difficult in Washington. He ain't telling no lie. He telling the truth. It's something to be mindful and watchful on, because this could get messy. I mean, it's going to get messy. It's not going away. So it's something to watch. It's like watching a train wreck. Let me just say that, because I had another analogy that I don't think it was appropriate. So it's just not good. It's like sitting there when you know something is getting ready to happen, and you like, I'm just gonna sit here and keep watching it because ain't nothing else on TV. We just gonna keep watching this. That's what it's like when you know, and you just waiting for the phone to go off, or you just waiting for something else to just go public, or just, and you tired of it. I don't know, Commanders fans. Check in and let me know how you're feeling about all this. Because here's the thing. Again, because of the lackluster offseason, from a player perspective, everything that's being talked about is the drama and the distractions. Now, it's still crazy that it says, hey, look, to this point here, and I definitely want to share this. Absolutely. Carson's teammates, they were like, hey, he was only here a year. They have a lot to say. And it's not all negative. It's not. But if there's something going on and he has to keep and be the leader of this group every Sunday, we just going to pray for Carson. Seriously. So more to come. More to be seen, more to be shared. There's an NFL draft at the end of this month, right? And Martin Mayhew was mentioned as sharing at the owners' meeting that they have talked about shifting trade positions. Who knows what will come of it, but he definitely said, hey, it's been discussed. It's been absolutely discussed. So it's always more to come, people. It's always a lot of fun. And we still have more to talk about, because I want to talk about how much this team really likes Cole Holcomb. That's what I'm going to leave you all on. I'm going to leave you all on the note that this team wholeheartedly believes in Cole Holcomb. Do you believe in Cole Holcomb? Do you like Cole Holcomb? Because I'm going to tell you who likes Cole Holcomb. And that is Ron Rivera. Seriously. For sure. So I'm going to leave you all with that. That is going to be your star middle linebacker. Okay? You all, we did it. We made it another week talking about the Commanders. Listen, join me later on in the week when I'm doing the rundown of all DMV sports. And just so you know, if you don't know, definitely the show is on cable every single Friday. So from 1:30 to 2:30, you can catch all CWall on Fios channel 11, Xfinity channel 77. So listen, make sure it's absolutely no reason to miss Coaching from the Couch. Okay, you guys? Listen, it's always a blast talking to you all. You can see I'm kind of losing my voice already. I got a little excited for a minute there and I had to chill out. But as always, you guys, it's more to come. It is my pleasure. And I'll be seeing you guys again soon.
You're not on the field,
Yeah.
court, or ice.
CWall.
You're on the couch. From PG to DC, this is Coaching from the Couch with your host, CWall. Delivering coverage for all DC
Y'all
sports
already know what it
from
is.
the hometown perspective. Nats, Skins, Mystics, DC United, Washington Wizards, Caps, Bowie State.
My name's CWall, I'm a PG girl. Down for my skins, I don't know if you heard. If you like watching sports, then I am your girl. Sit down on the couch if you're not on the field. Cold on the ice, pick any sport that you want. Know that I cover it tight. What would you like? From baseball to football and more. The list can go on the whole night. Big shouts out to my HBCU fam. Never forget who I am through the wins and the losses, the highs and the lows. We gotta stay strong, so I stay 10 toes. Make the competition back. The way I kick it, make them